Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Procurement Nuggets. This is David Nash, the question of the day guy, and today I'd like to talk to you about the goals of public procurement. Back a few years ago, when I was teaching the introductory course, they had a description in there. The goal of public procurement was to satisfy the customer by obtaining the optimum market response to requiring activities at a fair and reasonable price with exactly what is needed and when it is needed, while serving the long-term interests of the government by minimizing business and technical risks, accomplishing socioeconomic objectives, maximizing competition, and maintaining integrity. That's quite a mouthful. So I'd like to break this down into some smaller bites that we could talk about. First of all, we're going to talk about cost. And cost can often be more than just the price of the product or service that we're going to pay. There can be the acquisition cost, there can be delivery, the cost of insurance. Do we maybe want to do a life cycle costing process? Or perhaps we're doing an RFP in which we're going to choose best value. In that case, with an RFP, we're not going for the lowest cost. Another thing we want to look at as a goal is quality. And this can be defined as the extent to which the end user's needs are met. It's an axiom of public procurement that the procurement official gets to choose how the solicitation will be made, what type of solicitation, but the quality element has to be determined by the department. They're the ones that have to be satisfied with the quality of the item or the service. And quality can be expressed in terms of the past performance of the vendor, what kind of technical excellence is available. And as I mentioned earlier about the RFP, we often take a look at that. What's the management capability of this company? Can they keep up with a schedule, whatever we put in place? So it's a composite of all these attributes, including performance. Timeliness. Uh, when do we need the product? When does the end user need the product? How's delivery going to be made? If it's a one and done, like you're ordering 100 desks or something, they come in, you inspect them, you sign off on it, you send the notice up to finance, they marry it up with the invoice, they pay the vendor. What if it's an 18-month or 24-month construction project? A lot of delivery issues are going to come up in that. Managing risks is another goal that we have in public procurement. Every contract has risk. One of my other videos here that I've got on the channel is talking about the 6 contract risks that are out there. You might want to take a look at that. The more risk that we ask a supplier to assume, you can bet the price is going to go up. There's a trend for the entity to manage the risk, and there's all kinds of business, technical, financial, price, performance, all kinds of things. You might want to take a look at that other video I've got out there. Another goal that we've got in public procurement is accomplishing social and economic objectives. Our elected officials quite often put these programs in place, and we have an obligation to address them through the procurement process. Government purchasing offers the opportunity to implement some of these policies. The federal government has many programs: Davis-Bacon, Clean Air, Buy American, Veterans Preferences. We can have down at the lower level at the city and county, we have local preference ordinances, MBE, WB, SBE programs, sustainability, buying recycled. So all of these things sometimes have to be taken into consideration. Another goal that we have is maximizing competition. And when I was working for the city of Fort Lauderdale, this was probably the biggest goal that I focused on. You want to get those vendors out there, as many as possible, to sharpen their pencil and hopefully get a good price and a good quality, whether it's an ITB or an RFP. A competition must be full and open. Perhaps we provide some incentives to reduce cost and increase the quality. And competition can be critical to innovation, particularly in the technical arena. Another one we want to take a look at is maintaining integrity and transparency. We have a fiduciary responsibility to our agency to make sure our contracts are properly written, that again, they're full and open competition. We are responsible for the integrity of the process. It's our process. We have to be able to explain it to our end users, to our upper management, and certainly to our suppliers. We want to ensure that we have open specifications, and the whole process must be fair and open. So we've got these seven elements out there, these goals that we have in public procurement, but it's not really possible to satisfy them, each one of them fully all the time. So we get into a position where we're actually trading off different things. We can trade quality and cost, just for an example here. We can trade timeliness and cost, risk and cost, socioeconomic goals and cost, integrity and cost, certainly. Whereas the private sector has primarily one goal, and that's profit maximization. So, for example, just to give you an example of quality, perhaps you can spend $25,000 on a product or service, and the department will be 90% satisfied with that product. Well, what if they want to be more satisfied? What if they wanted to be 97 or 98% satisfied, or almost 100% satisfied? But that's going to cost another $2,500. So now you're up to $27,500. Timeliness, we can have the product in 2 days at a cost of $50,000, or if we're willing to wait another couple of days, that price goes down to $45,000. So there's a trade-off there. Risk, we may be willing to pay a higher price to ensure completion of the project, but that bumps up against our maximum competition goal. All of us are aware that there are some vendors out there that are better than others, or we just feel more confident that they can do the job, but that's going to come at an additional cost. Competition, increasing the number of bids increases competition, but it also increases cost. And this goes back to the time where we used to do paper bids. We used to mail this stuff out. And I know when I worked at my agency, going back 20, 25 years ago, when we were doing paper bids, we were required to work our source lists, our vendor lists, so that we didn't send out like 200 bids. We might send out 100, because we had to print all those. We had to stuff them in envelopes, put the mailing labels on them, and send them down the mailroom. And then integrity, obviously, you could have a short-term tactic of revealing competitors' prices, but that's not something we want to do in the public sector. These taking an opportunity to beat a vendor on a particular price or something by contacting somebody else, that's just not something we want to get into. So anyway, I hope you find this information of benefit. If you're interested in joining my question of the day, feel free to visit my website, qoftheday.net, and submit a contact form, and I'll be happy to add you to the list. I hope to see you on a future episode of Procurement Nuggets. For now, take care.